So I'm back up here in the mountains testing out more e-bikes, and this one here is, you can see, a very large bike. It's a bit of a monster. It's got full suspension and it does have a 1000-watt rear hub motor. It is from Lankeleisi. Now, I've reviewed quite a few of their bikes and I do like the quality of the frame, their finish of their bikes. The model is the RV700. This battery is removable, replaceable. It is locked into place. 48 volts and the capacity is 16 amp hours. It can give us a range, they claim, up to 120 kilometers. We've got 5 pedal assist levels and it does have hydraulic disc brakes, 180 millimeters. The brand of them is Zoom. Shimano gears, 7-speed, and the front shock, there's adjustable compression, preload too, but the travel on it isn't quite as much as you would think it would be, judging by the look of the shock. It's almost like a downhill style one. So I'll be taking the bike off-road. I'll show you exactly how it performs in climbs, brake tests, and what is it like with real gravelly rough stuff. That's why I'm out here, so I can test this e-bike properly. Now, I do cover a lot of e-bikes if you follow my e-bike reviews with these fat wheel tires. Now, they're 4 inches wide, and these are 26-inch wheels, so they're very large, and the diameter in total works out to be around about 29, well, almost 29 inches. It's about 28. And the brand of them, Chow Yang, these tires, they're okay, but I want to point out that in the wet, they can be pretty slippery, so do be careful when you first ride them in the wet. So this front shock travel, I've measured it, it's about 60 millimeters, and that's why I say that it looks like it could do a lot more than what it can really actually do. The other shock, which is this rear one right here, has around about 20 to 30 millimeters of travel. Better than nothing. Right there, that is our controller. So if you need to ever replace that, it's going to be inside that little box there. And this battery, as I talked about just in the intro there, that is 16 amp hours, 48 volt system. And there is the key point, entry point there for the lock. So that's how you unlock it. And a little handle just to help you remove it. So as you can see here, it pulls out from one side. That's why it's got the little lever, because that's how you unlatch it. You pull, you can see there is a battery gauge here. So pressing this, you can see how much battery you have remaining. Charge time is about 4 to 5 hours, and I'll show you what it looks like when you pull it right out. So there's where it connects in the point, and it slots into the bottom right there, and it does not rattle about, which is good. This front headlight we have is very good. It's a common light, but it's powerful, it's bright, got 4 LEDs and some little focal lenses in there. As you can see now, it does light up the path ahead of you. So great for nighttime riding, but it's the only wide light we do have, and that is included. There's no tail light, unfortunately, with this bike. The kickstand here is just a single position here. It's not adjustable, and I find it to be a little bit too long, a little too upright. I would probably hacksaw off a little bit off the bottom of it if I can, just to lower it, because I've already had the bike fall over on me and I did end up damaging a little bit the handlebars. So those disc brakes, as mentioned, 180 millimeters from Zoom. They do work well. Later on, I'll be testing them out. And a powerful 1000-watt rear hub motor that can get us up to 45 kilometers per hour if you do have the unlocked version. This is locked down to 25 kilometers per hour. The fenders, or the mud guards, they are plastic here. I don't particularly like them. They flop around all over the place. You'll hear them later on in the video. They do make a bit of noise. I would probably just end up removing those. And our seat. So this is quite comfortable. There's a lot of padding to it. And having the handle on the seat just behind it to help you move about this mammoth of a bike, which is 31 kilos, is actually quite a good idea. And you'll see we do have there a point where you can mount a bottle holder if you wanted to do so. No surprises here with our gears. So it's Shimano Altus. This is very basic entry level. It does do the job. 7-speed. The chain, this is a KMC. It's the Z. You've seen a lot of this chain here. It works well, no problems. And we do have these alloy pedals. They're fine, no issues with them. And there is a guard around the front crank there for the chain to make sure it does not come off on us. The seat post does have a quick release, but with our front wheel, we do not have a quick release front hub that is bolted on. So you're going to have to carry those tools around with you if you do happen to get a puncture. So this is what happened, unfortunately, because of the kickstand being so upright. The bike toppled over in a light breeze and I bent this. This has been damaged from the floor. It still does work. If I try and bend this back, this being alloy, it will probably snap off. So I'm just going to have to leave it and replace this lever. A little bit of damage here. So this is our twist style throttle. And by the way, these brake levers, they do feel good. They've got a nice feel to them, a lot better than mechanical cable pull levers. On the left, you'll find our controls. So we have the pedal assist levels up and down, light on, and the information for the screen. If you press and hold this one, it goes into the walk mode, and that will slowly move ahead. Something that's really good to have with such a heavy bike. And our screen, so this display is very clear. You can make it out in direct sunlight, and you got all that information there clearly giving us the battery level 2 at the top, you can see, and our speed. Stunner of a day to be testing out e-bikes. It's hard to believe that it's mid-November now when I'm filming this. It should be really quite cold, and it's almost about 26 degrees Celsius. Anyway, what is it like to ride now the RV700? Well, I'm reasonably tall. I wouldn't say I'm extra tall or anything like that. I'm 184 centimeters, and I find the larger size of this bike, the frame, to be very comfortable. The kickstand is my minor niggle. I think it's too upright. I've already had the bike fall over on me. Not amazing. Getting on it, because of the lower frame here, the geometry of it, and the seat post can go down really low. It can cater to lower riders, but some people may find the handlebars maybe a little bit too far away. Now you can adjust them, you can bring them in a little bit closer if you wanted to do so. So nice wide handlebars, very easy to turn on it. It rolls really nice, as you can imagine, on the 26-inch fat tires here, 4 inches wide. The weight of the bike you do notice, not normally on the flat, but if you like a playful bike, something that you can pop the front up on, like say a 27.5-inch bike or 26-inch normal size rims without the fat wheels, you notice that front suspension weight a little bit, but it soaks up a lot of bumps. A little curb here, drop down this part, very good. Now you hear a little bit of chain slaps around a little bit, and the annoying thing is those plastic mud guards. I would actually remove them because it barely rains here, and if it was going to rain a lot, I probably wouldn't be riding anyway, so it's annoying that they make that noise, but really comfortable, really smooth. So the motor, let's talk a little bit about that. 1000 watts. It's reasonably quiet. You can probably hear it a little bit in the video. And I got the option to use the up to 5 pedal assist levels, or just use our twist throttle. So using that now, it'll get me up to 25 kilometers per hour because I do have it locked down, limited, speed limited. If you have it unlocked, well, you're up to about 40 plus kilometers per hour. Now it is using a speed sensor, so sometimes it can be a little bit slow to cut out. It can take about half a second at times to cut out, but normally it's pretty good. I find it's not bad, the optimization of that speed sensor. Climb test now. So this is approximately 20 degrees, and we've got a 1000 watt motor, 48 volt system, and plenty of power. Look at this. Going up, not a problem. I'm in the second gear. I can go up gears here too, doing 15 kilometers per hour. And I'm putting in a very lazy, about 20% effort. The motor is doing the rest. Now I stop pedaling and I just use the throttle. That is about 13, 14, and gaining speed here, climbing with absolute ease, no problem. Now this is a heavy bike, so it's 31 kilos. If I was to turn off the motor, the pedal assist completely, put it into the lowest gear now, of course. Oh yeah, oh wow. You notice that you don't want to be going up any steep climbs without any motor assistance or a flat battery. You want to make sure you've always got a bit in reserve for that last big climb home. Braking test now from approximately 30 kilometers per hour, white post here. Okay, I was a little bit late with that brake, so it's about where the post is, the braking test here. Good braking performance, aided by the fact that they're hydraulic 180mm disc brakes, but the tires also nice and fat, nice and wide, do give a little bit of extra grip, making the braking performance good. I've got no complaints with how the brakes are. These Zoom brakes, very good. They do the job. Now taking it out on some trails here to test out the fat tires and the rear and the front shock. So the full suspension, better than nothing. Tires again helping with traction, the grip along here. They do have poor rolling resistance on the road, they make a lot of noise, but this is where they do shine, is on the loose, rough, gravelly stuff. So this trail is a little technical along here. I do have a bit of a drop ahead. We'll see how the bike's going to handle it. And great that I can get that seat post right down, the seat right down, to get the seat out of the way here. So here's this bit of a drop, quite steep, not a problem. And I'm going to continue on, test out the climbing performance. Should roll all right, 26-inch wide, fat tires, very bumpy here, but doing well. However, I got stuck there almost. I'm still going just. So this is really rocky, very hard going, but it is doing it. Riding up this. What about our range? So Lankeleisi claims you can get from the 16 amp hour battery up to 120 kilometers range. Now, it's not far off from that, but I'd say realistically more like about 80 to 90 kilometers. Normally, I typically see around 18, 19 kilometers that I cover before I lose one of the battery bars, and there are 5 in total there, each representing, of course, 20%. So it's not bad, the range, and of course it's aided by the fact that we do have such large wheels, and it's pretty good. When you're riding too and you go over 25 kilometers per hour, then you aren't using that motor at all. So bear that in mind. I'm locked down to 25 kilometers per hour. So if you have a bike or you unlock it and you're burning around everywhere really quick, about 40 up to 45 kilometers per hour at the top speed, then you won't get that kind of range. It'll probably be about half of that there. So it's going to vary, of course, as it always does. So the things I like about the bike, well, the wheels, the tires, they are good. They're great for where I am right now, rocky, rough stuff. Nothing serious like downhill, even though the front shock looks like it could handle some huge drops downhill, and the rear, you've got a little bit of travel there. It's only for minor stuff. Even some of the stuff that I've been showing you right now, like that climb, is almost a little bit too rocky for this. It is a big, heavy bike too. So 31 kilos, you don't really want to be having to push it around much. Climbing performance is another big positive. So plenty of power from the 1000-watt rear hub motor means I can rocket up most of the climbs. And I climbed all the way up here, which is a couple of kilometer climb constantly. The motor shows no sign of overheating too, which is great. And when you do the long climbs, that's something, again, it's going to really hit that battery. You'll see it drop down, and then sometimes it will bounce back those battery bars because it's been gauged off the voltage of it, which, as mentioned, is 48 volts in total, but it will be a little bit over that too. So the light on the front, the headlight, is good. It's great that it's included. It does actually have a built-in buzzer, but we don't have a button for that horn. So that's just not part of the system where it's there. There's no rear lights. You have to use your own. That's pretty standard there. That's going to happen. The gears from Shimano, they're fine. They do the job. I don't have any issues with them. What I do have issues with are minor little niggly things. So these mud guards, kind of cheap and annoying. I don't get a lot of rain around here, so I would just get rid of them completely because they're annoying. They make those noises as they slap about and move. Getting on the bike, so many times I've hit this here, which is again a little bit annoying. The kickstand, I think, is just a little bit too upright for this bike, and it makes it a little easy to topple over. So you have to be very careful where you place it with the kickstand, that it's got a bit of a slope, that you have the bike leaning into that slope, not against it, or it will simply topple over, which happened to me, and I damaged the brake lever a little bit there. So the brakes, very good. It checks out. For this style of bike, the fat wheels, the power it's got, it's another great bike here from Lankeleisi. Price-wise, you're looking about 1,600 euros at the time of this video. So yes, it is a little bit more expensive than others, but you do get the quality frame finish, good welds on it, and overall, a solid, large, heavy bike. If that's what you're after, then it's a joy to ride, really great for cruising. So thanks a lot for watching my review here of the Lankeleisi RV700.